In Project 2, we're going to take a look at how we can protect a workbook, a worksheet, and ranges within a workbook. And there's a variety of reasons why you'd want to look at the various ways of protecting each one of those items. But in any event, whether it's protecting a workbook, a worksheet, or ranges, your goal there is to prevent other people, other users, from accidentally deleting or modifying changes within a workbook. Excuse me. By default in a workbook, you're going to find that all of the cells within a workbook are locked by default. And what I mean by that is if I go to the Home tab in the Cells group, Format, I don't know if you can see this or not, but at the bottom of this is Lock Cell, and it has that actually turned on. And no matter where I am in the worksheet, by default, all cells are locked. So in our example, I've pulled up the Cut Rate Final Prices workbook, and I've already renamed it, saved it as they've requested in Project 2A. But what we're going to do initially is protect the entire worksheet, just so you can see that you're kind of locked out of every cell, because by default the cells are locked. So to protect a sheet, excuse me, we're going to go to the Review tab, and in the Changes group, I'm going to click on Protect Sheet. That'll bring up the Protect Sheet dialog box. Excuse me. And by default, it has Protect Worksheet and Contents of all locked cells. Now, if you'll notice here, it's asking for a password. Your passwords should be a combination of upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and any other special characters, just so that others can't easily figure out what your password is. So although I say that, I'm going to make we'll just use the passwords that they suggest here. And on page 195 in Project 2A, they tell us to protect the sheet with an F4 capital R $, and then C. Then once you key in your password, if a person has this password, they can easily unprotect the worksheet. But I'm going to click OK, and then it's going to ask for confirmation, so that we type in the same F4 capital R $, and then C. Okay. Now, when I click in any of these cells, can't go in there, can't make changes in any way because we've been protected. But if we try to unprotect the sheet, we have to have that password again, which is F4 capital R $. Let's try that again. F4 capital R $, C. And now if we go in and try to make a change, we certainly can. I'm going to press escape to get right back out of that. Alright, now the next project looks at protecting the entire sheet except for certain cells within the worksheet. And there may be times when you want to pass your workbook on to other users, and there are certain cells that you want them to be able to put input into, but like for your labels or where cells have formulas or functions, you may want to protect those cells so that they aren't easily changed, deleted, or edited. So what we're going to do, these target rentals, all of those we want to leave unlocked or unprotected so that a user can go in and make changes to those if desired. Now, the first round, they're going to have us just select C5 through C10, one area first, and then we'll go through and grab several ranges to leave unprotected. So the first thing that we have to do is unlock the cells that we want to give the users access to. So I'm selecting C5 through C10, and then back on the Home tab in the Cells group, I'm going to click on Format. Then I'm going to click on that Lock Cell option. That unlocks those cells. Okay, and actually if I go back into that, again, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but the Lock Cell option now it's not selected or depressed to indicate that it's active. So we're also going to grab target rentals for F5 through F10, and then target rentals I5 through I10 and L5 through L10. All those we want to leave unprotected. So with those 3 areas selected, I'm going to go back to the cells group, click on the Format button, choose Lock again. Now all those cells, all those ranges of cells for Target Rentals are unlocked. Now when we protect the sheet, we go back to the Review tab, click on Protect Sheet. I'm going to put in that same password. It'll ask for confirmation again. Now when I go to any other range of cells other than Target Rentals, if I try to type in those, can't type or put anything in those cells. But if I go to Target Rentals, any of those ranges, and try to type something in, notice you have access to any of those cells, and ultimately you could put in whatever numbers you wanted to for that range of cells. Okay, so that's giving access to certain ranges within a workbook for users to input information or make changes. Okay, now we're going to unprotect the sheet. It's asking for that password again. And now we're unprotected. So we should be able to get to any cell and type whatever we want in there. Next, we're going to look at how we can protect the structure of a workbook. And by structure, I mean you can prevent others from making changes like adding a new sheet to a workbook, or deleting a sheet, or hiding or unhiding sheets, things like that. So the structure of the workbook can be protected. Also, you can change, or you can protect users from changing the size of the window or the position of the window of your workbook. So we're going to protect the structure so that we can prevent users from deleting a sheet or inserting new sheets within our workbook. And to do that, again, Review tab, Changes Group, you'll see Protect Workbook. Again, it's asking for a password, but before we put that in, notice you can either protect the structure, which would be like from deleting a sheet or inserting a new sheet, or hiding and hiding a new sheet or a sheet within your workbook, or you can protect the windows, where that's resizing or moving the windows on your screen. We're going to leave it at structure. This time the password is W4 capital R exclamation point and C. And again, we'll get another text box for confirmation. And so now if we wanted to insert a new sheet, if you click on the insert worksheet, it doesn't let you do it. Or if you right click, the insert option is not there. Can't hide or unhide a sheet. So you can see that the structure of the workbook is actually protected. Okay. Alright, and then we'll go ahead and unprotect the workbook again by typing in that password, W4 capital R exclamation point and C. And now again, if we right click, we could insert a new sheet, we could hide. We don't have any sheets hidden, so that's why that's dimmed out already. And then the final protection in Project 2 is adding a password to protect a workbook from even being able to open it. And we do that in the Backstage view. And we're going to add a password to open this particular workbook that we have open right now. So I'm going to go through the File tab, again to the Backstage view. The permissions area there, we're going to click on Protect Workbook. And lots of ways that you can do this, but we're going to encrypt with password. And that just means that we'll have to apply a password. You have to have the password in order to open that particular workbook. And encrypted basically means that you're going to have the computer convert your plain text to a scrambled format, so that makes it even more difficult for users to decipher what your password is. Alright, so we're going to choose Encrypt with Password. The password that they want us to use for this one is P4 capital E pound symbol C. And again, it's asking for another typing of your password to make sure it's the same. Okay, so we've protected the workbook. Now we're going to test it. So I'm going to close out of this. We'll save the changes. And then we're going to try to open that workbook again. I guess I saved it in here. Okay, which I didn't mean to do that, but it's in the original data files list. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on that to try to open it. It's going to ask for the password. We have the password since we put it in there. And that'll allow you to open the workbook. Otherwise, if you didn't have that password, no one would be able to even get into the get into that workbook. So we've got a variety of ways of protecting our workbook, our worksheet, and then ranges of cells within a workbook.